Good afternoon. Hey guys.
Seamless.
Welcome to Why Is This a Thing?
That was one of the better ones.
Yeah? Was it? Well,
Two pleasant voices.
it was. And not just a whiny little midget voice, just like a ant in our ears.
Or an Al-Qaeda terrorist.
Yeah, or an Al-Qaeda terrorist.
Like we had before.
We're trimming the fat, and we have a special guest on today's program, the much anticipated debut of my OP, my original podcaster, Rob from 2 Cents Radio on the other line. Rob, what's going on, buddy?
How are you guys?
We're doing, man. We're doing. It's about time you're on this show.
I know.
This is the crossover nobody asked for.
It is.
I gotta say.
No, one person asked for it. One person asked for it, and he's on this phone call right now.
Was it Rob?
That's
Okay.
it. That was the only request. Yeah, we've been talking about
those
this.
2 Cents Radio numbers.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, we do. Yeah, this is one of those. It's like the Flintstones meet the Jetsons.
Yes.
It's a big television event, big podcast event. Rob, we've been talking about having you on this show for a while, and we've also been talking about this movie that we're about to discuss for a while. So this is a big day for everyone involved.
This is ginormous.
Yeah. We sent out a tweet.
Monumental. People don't realize. This is... I really want to emphasize how historic this moment is.
For one person. Yeah. For sure.
Grab onto your seats, folks.
I agree.
Hold on tight.
We're doing the River Wild today. And we're doing it because you, Rob, requested it on Twitter. And we said, what better opportunity? Because I'll just say, from my point of view, you have been championing this movie for
25 years.
Well, yeah, certainly the entirety of our friendship. And I think the entirety of your life.
We're celebrating the 25-year anniversary of the River Wild this summer.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, we should align this up with the actual birthday. Damn it.
Oh, because, everybody has that chalked up on their calendars.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. We're celebrating 50 years of Apollo and 25 years of the River Wild.
Right. Those are the big... Not Woodstock. We don't care about that.
Nope. Nope. It's Apollo and the River Wild.
We got a man on the moon, and we got Meryl Streep in a stupid action movie.
Absolutely.
There's one small step for man, one giant leap for Meryl. September 30th, 1994 was the release of The River Wild. So, yes, it will be 25 years this fall.
You didn't have to look that up. I could have told you.
I know. You have it on your calendar already in the back. Rob, can you walk us through your relationship to this movie?
Well, I remember the very first time I watched it, my sister and her husband had rented it on pay-per-view and recorded it on VHS. And they thought that it was such a great movie that they brought it over to my parents' house, where I was, 12 years old at the time, 13 years old at the time. And they're like, we got to sit down and watch this movie. It's the greatest movie ever. And we sat down one Sunday afternoon and watched it. And it's blown my mind ever since.
What a 90s sentence that was.
It really is.
So pay-per-view, how much they had to pay for it at the time? It was like $5 and you watch it once?
So it was weird because we all had DirecTV at the time. This was the early years of DirecTV. So you would buy a movie, but it was only playing at specific times.
Oh.
So if it was on 3 channels, maybe it was staggered out to start at an hour in between.
Okay.
So you would pay, usually back then, a pay-per-view movie was 99 cents.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So you'd record it onto a VHS tape. You'd get 2 or 3 movies on a single tape, and you'd share movies back and forth.
Wow.
Early Kazaa.
So romantic. And so how many times would you approximate that you've seen this movie?
Oh, God, I have no idea. I watch it at least once a year.
Wow.
At least once a year.
So this movie does not warrant that at all.
I was afraid after you guys saw this movie, you were like, well, we can't shit on this movie. We can't do a podcast about this.
Oh, I can shit on this movie.
No, I think it's actually pretty damn close to perfect. I'm actually sort of at a loss for words. I'm not sure what I can make fun of here. This is a fucking masterpiece, Nick.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's fun of. It kickstarted Meryl Streep's career.
Yeah, okay.
It's not bad. I mean, like, it's not a bad movie.
Oh,
by
it's
any
bad.
means.
It's bad. There's no question about that. It's a
I
bad
don't
movie.
think it's bad. I think it's just fine. Like, I think it's like just on that level of just like
The movie is 25 years old. It holds up better than Twister.
Oh my god.
it holds up better than a lot of things. I will be honest.
It does hold up better than most other Rob movies. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It holds up better than Jason Bourne. We were talking about this, the whole trilogy.
Yeah, I think
It's already outdated.
I think you're right. I think it does hold up better. At least there are still rivers now.
Right. for at least a couple more years.
Right. The NSA doesn't spy on people like that anymore. Yeah, I will say that when I watched it for the first time the other night on Netflix. It's streaming on Netflix, by the way, if you have not seen it and you're a listener of this. The first thing that struck me was this is one of the most Rob movies I've ever seen. Like, if you wrote this script, it would look exactly the same. You know, in very 90s, outdoorsy, involves nature, has a lot.
Woke. It's very woke. Woman empowerment.
Stop. It's very woke. There are a lot of like over the top performances from very good actors, like overqualified actors. That's the key. It's like multi-Oscar winners are starring in this thing. Some of the most, fucking John C. Reilly has a bit part in this movie.
I was like shocked to see John C. Reilly and Meryl Streep on the same screen.
It's nuts. It's
weird.
nuts.
Very weird.
Right.
This is the guy from Step Brothers.
Yes.
With Will Ferrell.
Kevin Bacon's in this movie.
It's
a star-studded cast.
David Strathairn's in this movie. Like, what the hell, man? And then Meryl, like, possibly the greatest actress of all time, probably definitely is just slumming it with a script that, like, you read it on first glance and you're like, oh, this is just a ripoff of Deliverance. This is just MILF Deliverance. That's all this is.
Sort of, yeah.
It's exactly Deliverance.
No, I definitely felt the Deliverance vibes, for sure.
We can't forget the little kid from Jurassic Park either. That was the boy from Jurassic Park.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is incredible.
I mean, off Jurassic Park High, he goes to the River Wild.
Wait, didn't Jurassic Park come out like right before this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like a year
before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 93, Jurassic Park, yeah.
That's crazy.
What a time for that guy.
How did they pull the kid from Jurassic Park?
How did they get Meryl Streep?
It would actually be the biggest surprise that they got the kid from Jurassic Park.
Right. They got the kid that's being tortured out in nature. They found that guy. Yeah. So that's what makes it a Rob movie. It's like I think about Twister, which Philip Seymour Hoffman is in, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton, and it's like really good actors going way over the top with it's like this fits right into that wheelhouse. I understand why you love it.
How did you find out about Philip Seymour Hoffman's passing? Can I ask Nico?
What? Is there a story about this that he just wants you to bring up?
Yes. So Philip Seymour Hoffman died on Super Bowl Sunday, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago. Overdosed in his apartment, right? Or killed himself, whatever.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, same.
I get a Snapchat the second after it hits the AP wire. Like it's from Rob, and it goes
a fucking Google News like setup. So
and
you
he
get
goes,
like from Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, he has it set up to. Yeah, his name pops up. He's like, "Oh shit, we're never gonna get a Twister 2." And I'm like, "That's what your reaction is?"
I'm sorry, but if they could do the Hunger Games with him after he died by like fucking putting his face on somebody, they can do.
Yes.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Especially if he's going to be in a Twister the whole time.
Right. I mean, what difference does it make?
So, yes, all this to say, if you are not familiar with Rob and our work on 2 Cents Radio, all you got to do is watch this movie and you're all set. The story begins and ends there.
There's a very 90s movie though. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like this had like big stars for a mediocre script, and that seemed to be very 90s for some reason.
Somebody somewhere was doing a lot of favors and pulling a lot of weight
Yeah.
to get these people here. You know what I mean? Like, I imagine there's a story behind this. Like, the director's cousin was like a big shot producer or something. Some you know?
I have a guess. Here's my guess. Meryl had just spent the last 15 years making fucking pretentious foreign movies. Like doing Sophie's Choice with her authentic Polish accent. And it turns out those movies don't pay the bills, man. And she's like, I got to buy my daughter's way into Yale or whatever. I got to make a big budget action movie. I think that's the story. I think they drove up to her mansion that was about to be foreclosed with a wheelbarrow full of money, and they're like, here. Because this movie was expensive. It was $45 million budget I'm seeing on IMDb.
Here's the thing. I think it's all goes back to the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Somebody knew somebody who knew Kevin, and Kevin knew all the rest of these people. You know what I mean?
How convenient they actually had Kevin Bacon signed on. He
Well,
knows
yeah,
everybody. He knows everybody in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that must be what happened, if I'm going to be honest.
What y'all think of Kevin Bacon in this movie?
Probably, without a single doubt, the best Kevin Bacon that I could imagine. This is the Kevin Bacon I want at my birthday party. You know, he's like showing all the kids, like, here's my gun. You know? Can you keep it secret? Yeah, here's $200.
Here's $200. How extra? What a perfect amount. It's like when they were writing the script, it's the perfect awkward amount.
What I really like is they purposely, and I'm sure Rob like has caught this multiple times. Maybe you didn't though. You probably did, but they purposely, it's like, oh, he gets this gift from his dad, who he already has relation problems with. And he goes, oh, they left the price tag on there, $80. And then all of a sudden the kid gets $200. And they're really trying to like emphasize like Kevin Bacon stepping up on his father. Like, it's just so unnecessary.
Yeah, such one-upsmanship.
No reason. They already illustrated the point 30 times before that. There's no reason.
Yeah, even if Kevin Bacon and John C. Reilly weren't murderous bank robbers that were like kind of sociopathic, it would still be a creepy movie about a guy's relationship with a kid. Like, it still would be inappropriate. Even if like there was no crime angle whatsoever and nobody got killed, it's like, yeah, you're giving my son 2 crisp $100 bills and letting him play with your loaded gun. It's like you'd still show up on a list. It's still a horror movie.
And he's creeping on Meryl Streep when she's bathing in the river.
Well, that's how else would you know that he's evil?
Well, that's true.
How else would the filmmaker signify that Kevin Bacon's not a good dude?
That's why this movie is so woke.
Ironically, though,
in 1994.
So
I'm glad that you bring that up, because that's also what Meryl Streep had to do to audition with Harvey Weinstein to get this role.
Is this a Weinstein movie?
I have no clue.
Oh, I got it. It could be, though.
His fingers have to be somewhere on this piece of, you know?
Sure.
His grubby little fingers is somewhere.
Yeah.
Sure. Real quick, I mean, Meryl Streep, we haven't done a Meryl Streep movie. I want to give a quick shout out to our friend Catherine Alpin.
Yeah, oh my God, we should have got Catherine on this show.
How are we going to do that last second?
Damn. I know, we barely got you on this show. Yes, Catherine Alpin, our friend, star of the lead, really, of Camp Death in 3D. Camp Death 2 in 3D. 3 in 2D? I don't know.
Camp Death 3 in 2D.
Yeah. She's
the first movie in the series of 1.
Right. The famed Meryl Streep impersonator. Look-alike.
Oh, is she? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, so her entire acting career right now is based around I'm a Meryl Streep look-alike.
Oh my God.
And she does look pretty eerily like Meryl Streep,
yeah.
I will say. I mean, it's pretty spot on.
Yeah, she'll definitely be in line when they make the behind-the-scenes River Wild movie, and they have to cast a young Meryl.
The River Wilder?
Yes.
They get,
I am writing that movie right now.
You got to get Ryan Reynolds in there just so he can...
Yes.
Just for some Van Wilder joke,
Absolutely.
you know. I don't know what you're gonna. You could do a man in a van down by the river.
There you go.
And have him be the Van Wilder of the Wild River. That's Wilder.
And then get the Bagel Boss guy involved too, because he lives in a van
course.
down by the river.
Does he?
Oh yeah, dude.
It's a Chrysler Sebring.
Did you?
Perfect.
How do you know the make and model of the freaking Bagel Boss guy's car?
Because he was on Jim and Sam, and that's all he would talk about.
Oh my lord. Yeah, the New York Post wrote about this guy, and the Post, they couldn't help themselves. The lead of the story was, it turns out him and the what's his face, the guy that played them on SNL, Van Down by the River guy, Chris Farley. He's like, him and the Chris Farley character have a lot in common. They both live in vans down by the river, except this guy gets in fights with random homeless men. Yeah, it's
Chris Farley would never get into a fight with a homeless man. That seems very out of character for him.
Yeah, for sure not.
Because he's dead, not because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Heyo. You showed him, Nick. So the River Wild. Yes, we have not done a Meryl Streep movie. Shocker.
I know. Why wouldn't we?
She's only been nominated for 18 fucking Academy Awards.
There's this weird. The more Academy Awards that you're nominated for, the less likely we are to talk about you.
Is there another potential movie that we could do of hers?
No.
Of course not, right? This is the only one.
I can't think of one.
Maybe that shitty movie where she played the witch, the Disney movie where she played the witch.
Oh, the 101 Dalmatians?
No, that's Glenn Close.
Okay, I get it mixed up.
Into the Woods, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, Mamma Mia 2, we could do. We could do Mamma Mia 2. Other than that, though, no.
Yeah, we'll save that for like Italy Day or something.
I absolutely adored her performance in this, just because she's so overacting.
She's also kind of creepy.
Oh, yeah.
She's like cackling at these men who have a gun on her.
Yeah, that's right. She loses her shit there for a few minutes.
There was nothing more attractive in the world than when Kevin Bacon was just standing over her and she's like, don't talk the talk, like show me how tough you are. And then he just backed down. Oh my God.
So fucking hot.
That was great. That scene, just both of them.
I feel like we don't talk about how hot Meryl Streep is enough, because now she's just like this old lady.
It's weird because like I can only picture her as the old lady.
Right.
So even seeing her young, I'm just like, yeah, she's got some makeup on or something. Like there's no way she looks like that. You know, because I just can't get it out of my head. It's
like the Betty White syndrome. She's always been an old lady. You can't
so you're telling me
way.
If you say Meryl Streep's hot, I'm just thinking like, well, Betty White's not hot. Like she, you know.
I'll tell you what, Meryl's fucking hot in Kramer versus Kramer. Like I don't even want to argue about it. She's hot. She's hot. She's hot in freaking Manhattan. She's hot as a young lady. Rob, what say you?
Well, when you talk about Meryl Streep, the Meryl Streep in The River Wild is the one that I picture. I don't picture old lady Meryl Streep. I picture
he goes first.
I go River Wild Meryl Streep.
So every time she gets nominated for an Academy Award, this is what you're thinking of. This is the performance.
Yes. Because she got a Golden Globe and Screen Actor Guild nomination for this.
I was about to bring that up. That's a great point. She did.
What? Kevin Bacon got a Golden Globe.
Yeah, they both got Golden Globe nominations. Dude, that's the thing with Meryl, though. She makes a movie and they look for an excuse to nominate her. It's like if there are 10 good performances that year, like the Academy will snub 5 people to squeeze Meryl in. They'll do it. They'll squint as hard as they can looking for a compelling performance that doesn't exist. And that's the case with this movie, I think. Like, she just goes layers and layers and layers into it. And she's like looking for character motivations that weren't in the script. And she's looking to pop off in this weird PTSD thing when it's totally unnecessary. And I think like there are certain people in Hollywood that are nominating these awards that are like, yeah, Meryl, way to make like lemons out of lemonade here. Way to like go above and beyond what was asked, you know?
but she had another layer to her. She was an interpreter, a sign language teacher.
Of course.
This is a thing about, like, in particular, I feel like the 90s, where I actually kind of miss it. They actually write in these little details that it seems like at first they're kind of just written in to make the character more interesting, just to add a little dimension, and then it ends up being pivotal,
right?
In a weird way, like the fact that Kevin Bacon doesn't know how to swim.
How do you like the fact that his name is Wade and he doesn't know how to swim?
I think that was lost on the writers.
I didn't catch that.
Really, that was lost on the
That's funny. No, so the fact that the fact that he doesn't know how to swim, the fact that she's a sign language interpreter, and
her dad's deaf.
Yeah, and then like also just like even the entire plot line about the father, working too hard at work and is having problems with his son. Like there was no reason to include any of that animosity.
No,
the movie could have been 20 minutes shorter.
Dude, some of this stuff was so fucking unnecessary. You're 100% right.
I was crunched for time this morning, so I watched the movie a little faster than normal.
Oh, jeez, you did not do that again.
No, not too fast. Last time I did 1.5 speed. I didn't do any. I did 1.2. It was very watchable.
Oh boy.
At a brisk like 135. It was nice.
Yeah, you're right though. You're right.
But the movie could have been shorter.
Yeah, the whole sign language thing.
I kind of like that. It's stupid, but I kind of like it.
It's one of those things.
I like that he couldn't swim.
So here's another fun fact for you. I found this on IMDb. Carrie Fisher did a lot of the rewrites on this movie. She's an uncredited script doctor.
Was this before, during, or after the drugs?
During. All throughout. Yeah. So Carrie Fisher was actually one of the most well-renowned Hollywood script doctors. This is just she didn't like write a lot of scripts on her own, but she would always just come in and punch up some scripts that needed work and sometimes add a little comedy or whatever. And I feel like the sign language detail and some of that other background stuff, maybe the scene with Meryl's mother at the beginning, that was all added after the fact. That could have easily been one of the Carrie Fisher revisions.
I think the sign language detail, though, was there the whole time because it was used to solve the problem at the end of the movie of how do you communicate from the quote-unquote dead husband to the wife in the boat that he's going to flip the boat and try to drown the guy who can't swim.
Right.
Well, because they communicated about it before. He was able to communicate with smoke.
True, but at
I don't buy that. I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It was always in their head that David Strathairn was going to draw frickin' like pictograms of sign language.
In the boat before she knew he was alive already because she saw the smoke.
Yeah.
And the sign language that he put up there, as far as I could tell, it was this symbol twice, which means I love you. Yeah. And then there was a symbol in the middle of that. So nothing about that meant I'm going to flip a boat.
It looked like a boat.
Okay, so I love you, boat. I love you. What does that mean? That doesn't tell me anything.
It means nothing. That's what it's totally unnecessary.
So
it means they didn't really communicate anything of substance.
Right.
Nothing at all.
How did she know how to flip over that he was going to flip over the boat?
At this point,
suspension of disbelief.
I can't. This movie's a documentary.
Suspension of disbelief. All right, can we talk about the plot and then get into these details? Because I have so many notes.
Sorry.
I had such a good time with this movie. So, actually, Rob, do some background, and the two of us will butt in with comments, I guess. Start at the beginning of the movie.
So the beginning of the movie, like we talked about, is the issues with Dad at home. Like the opening of the movie is great, where she's rowing and trying to beat that train. And she's rowing fast enough where you think, oh my God, is the bridge about to collapse? What is she doing?
Right.
And, a nice. They really want you to buy in that she's like a fucking pro.
Yeah, they do.
Just rowing around in Boston. Apparently, that's a thing that happens in Boston. People just take the boat out on the river.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if that is what happens out there.
No, as someone that lived in Boston for a year, no, I've never seen anyone row on a fucking river through the city, racing traffic. Anyway, keep going.
And so it's Rourke's birthday, right?
Okay, wait, hold on. Pause. Freeze. Freeze. His name's fucking Rourke. We didn't mention this yet. They named their kid Rourke.
Yes.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
And their dog's name is Maggie.
Yeah, how does the dog have the human name and the human has the dog name?
Yeah.
Completely reversed. Great names though in this movie.
You gotta name that dog Rourke for sure.
Sure.
That's a great dog name.
It would have been. They're planning a trip out in Idaho to her parents' house, and Dad come home and he's going to disappoint everybody and not go on the birthday trip because he's got drawings to make, and they're hideous drawings. You see his sketchbook, and they're awful. They're like, why is this your job?
See, like, I think that's the thing. They were probably stuck. They're like, well, what type of job do we give him? Like a big executive, or do we make him like, and they're going through all these important jobs, and they're like, no, we got to like really emphasize that he's being a stupid person. So let's give him the dumbest job in the world.
Yes.
He's a doodler.
Doesn't he clarify though? He doesn't make drawings, he makes designs.
Sketches. Is that what he says?
I think he says designs.
Designs, yeah. They're not sketches, they're designs. Or something along those lines.
They're not rocks, they're minerals, Marie. That's what that is.
Nice Breaking Bad. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
So it's time to get on the river because there's all this filler bullshit that we were talking about. And they meet three guys. Well, Rourke meets Kevin Bacon and is admiring his hat.
Is it like the way you put that? They meet three guys. Well, no. Rourke meets Kevin Bacon. That's what happens.
Kevin Bacon.
Loves his hat.
And yeah, is it a Lollapalooza hat?
It is a Lollapalooza hat. I want to talk about this because what 12-year-old boy in the 90s would have been like, yo, is that a hat from that weird hippie art festival in the middle of the desert?
I also love the idea that this criminal murderer just like has a Lollapalooza hat. Right. I love that.
No,
he went to Lollapalooza.
He went to Lollapalooza. I fucking love that.
That is in the mythos of this movie.
In this world, both Kevin Bacon and the little boy from Jurassic Park listened to the Smashing Pumpkins. Yes. And that, to me...
The 90s were a weird time.
Could be the most unrealistic part of this movie.
I knew who Smashing Pumpkins were in the 90s as a 12 or 13-year-old.
When you were listening to the Dixie Chicks on the farm? Come on.
Well, yeah. Honest. I mean, we knew who the Smashing Pumpkins were.
But there's no way if someone came up to you like with a Smashing Pumpkins hat, you'd be like, yo, can I peep that shit? There's no way.
But here's the thing about the 90s, though, and it probably carries over into my life today, is stranger danger. Like, you don't talk to strangers.
Well, that too. Especially with these two square parents. I mean, his parents are really fucking lame.
They are.
You know? It's like, I'm surprised that guy leaves the house with his bookworm dad who's a workaholic and his mom that enjoys rowing on the Boston River by herself. It's like, who are these people?
And it turns out that Kevin Bacon, his character's name is Wade, is with Terry and Frank. They're going to row down the river also, or whitewater raft down the river also.
Right.
And I love how they're like, we're only going to develop one of these characters, so we're going to give the other two's names Terry and Frank.
Sure.
This one's Wade.
Right.
Yeah, you could be Terry, you could be Frank. I don't care. Swap names.
We get a fair amount of Terry in this movie. Terry is played by John C. Reilly.
Yes.
And he's sort of the lovable criminal. He's like the guy that has a conscience. I mean, he's still committing the crime, but he doesn't know any better. It's just because Wade's pushing him around.
So as they're floating down the river, they catch up with these yahoos, and all of a sudden they're like, where the fuck's Frank? Where'd Frank go? Oh, he walked out on us in the middle of the night.
Sure.
Sure he did. That's believable.
And we get this ominous shot of the dog, Maggie, because you always have this in these movies.
Oh, but I forgot the most important part.
Oh, right.
Maggie does not mind Dad. What is Dad's name in this movie? I don't even... Tom. Is it Tom?
Tom, yeah.
Yeah. Maggie does not mind Tom at all. And that was blatantly obvious in the beginning of the movie where Tom was like, Maggie, get off the bed. Maggie, get off the bed. And Gail, Meryl Streep, goes, Maggie, get down. And Maggie gets down.
The quote was specifically, Maggie, get off the quilt.
Oh, yeah, Maggie, get off
Which
the
is
quilt.
an important distinction with this family.
True.
Yeah.
Right. It's not about the bed. It's about the quilt.
About the quilt.
It's an heirloom.
And Gail is like, Maggie, get down. And the dog just...
Which, by the way, if you do write The River Wilder, that quilt needs to be in there.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that needs to carry over. Because it's a family heirloom.
It is.
Can I just point out, if we're talking about Tom, while we're on the subject, I am totally on his side throughout this entire movie. Is that a bad thing? Am I supposed to be on Tom's side? Because I don't think he made one wrong decision.
I agree.
I guess
he made one wrong decision.
What?
He went on the trip.
Right.
He should have stayed home.
Should have stayed home.
But he had the right idea, though. It's like, why are we whitewater rafting through this thing called the Gauntlet? Like, that's not a vacation. Like, can we just go to Disney World?
Going down the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet was past Bridal Creek.
That's the most Nico thing I've ever heard. Like, being outside is not a vacation.
It's not a vacation.
You want me to work on vacation? You want me to move the boat?
Dude, if there's no air conditioning, it's not a vacation. It's just not, man. It's like the guy probably makes decent money. I assume they have a pretty nice pad in Boston, and like, just go to fucking Disney. Go to Epcot Center. Go to the beach. What are you doing? Camping down a river?
Idaho. Gail's parents are in Idaho.
What the hell is in Idaho, by the way?
A lot less than what's in Nebraska.
That's crazy. I don't know one thing about Idaho. By the way, where was this thing filmed? Do you know?
I think up there in the Pacific Northwest, Montana.
I say there's no way you're getting Meryl Streep to go to Idaho. I don't care how much you're paying her.
Colorado River in southern Oregon. Streep did several of her own stunts in the film.
Saw that too.
After completing filming all the whitewater scenes in Montana and Oregon, the main cast and crew went to Boston to film the remaining scenes. So Montana and Oregon.
Got it. Yeah, not a vacation. I'm sorry. I'm totally on David Strathairn's side here. Tom, totally on his side. Also, like, let's not like let these guys tag along with us too. How about that?
Right, that's the stranger danger part that comes into it for me. It's like, all right, yeah, it's nice to talk to these people, but why are we hanging out with you?
Where there are no authorities to speak of.
Right.
Or just one authority. And he turns out he is the least skeptical cop in the country.
Let's be real. He got that job because he gets to be on the river and he gets a pension.
Oh my God.
Are we talking about Park Ranger Johnny?
Yeah.
Benjamin Bratt, of course.
You know, all I'm saying is I understand that character very much. You know, he's just like, I like rivers and it's a nice job. It's cushy. Right?
You know, it is
Think
hard.
about what crime is happening on a river? I know this movie is like an example, but it's also a movie. In real life, crime doesn't happen on rivers, man.
But isn't it true that it's harder to be an Indian in this country than it is a black or a Mexican or whatever?
That was said.
For no reason. For no reason, Kevin Bacon just like he meets this guy for the first time, and then he's just like he just says that to him, and the guy is like Native American, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or at least I'm just saying I don't know if the actor is in real life, but they definitely made him to look that way.
It's another one of those things where how are we going to find out that Kevin Bacon's evil? We're just going to have him say horribly racist things. And there's no reason for it. There's no motivation other than the guy just fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Just a bad dude. He lets kids hold his handguns. He stares at women while they're skinny dipping in the lightning. Like, just evil's going to evil, man. So it turns out Frank, the other compatriot, was, we assume, murdered.
Yeah, because Maggie pretty much almost finds the body. If you listen really closely, you hear flies buzzing around after Tom is up on the hillside. Yeah, Maggie's close to the body there.
What kind of fucking bullshit are you spewing right now?
What kind of sound system?
There's no way that they have like hidden shit like that. No way.
Go back and listen.
No way there's that attention to detail. This is not Lost.
Not be watching on 1.35 speed.
Great point.
1.2, excuse you. And I had subtitles. I would have seen those flies.
You would not have seen the flies.
I would have seen flies buzzing in the subtitles.
No, go back to that scene and watch it at regular speed.
There's no way I'm watching this again. Sorry.
You've seen this movie way too many times, Rob. This is nuts.
So you're telling me this movie has like Lost level fucking details hidden in it?
Are you sure that's not the buzzing of the VHS tape coming apart?
Well, I'm pulling up my digital copy of The River Wild right now, and I'm going to see if I can find it.
Okay, you do that.
You guys continue to talk about the plot.
Oh my god, that's wild.
Yeah,
it's The River Wild.
Big if true.
So we also should mention that Meryl and Kevin Bacon have this weird sexual tension boiling under the surface. And it's quite hot. At one point, Meryl teaches Kevin Bacon how to fish. And of course, the only way to learn how to fly fish is to do it without a shirt on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
so I learned. My dad learned. So my dad's dad learned.
It's what I learned from my father. That he learned from his father. Have you ever seen that Will Ferrell outtakes from Eastbound and Down?
No.
Oh, it's incredible. I'll show you that clip after.
Okay.
Okay. That's what you reminded me of just there. Yeah, so there's this weird tension. She's paying a lot of attention to Kevin Bacon, and the husband is sort of being ostracized by the group. And before you know it, Rourke is shown the handgun, and shit hits the fan, and Meryl quickly pieces together that these guys are a bunch of thieves that just escaped with a lot of loot and are crossing the border through this river. And they had a guide that was going to help them along, but apparently he got hurt or something. They had to do away with him, and now they needed someone else to navigate them through this treacherous water. And I guess this crime was alluded to early on in the movie when I guess there was a radio broadcast saying 3 armed men just escaped the so-and-so bank and are on the loose. And I think she put the pieces together then, right? Or am I totally making that up?
No, you're 100% right. Yeah. They what did they rob? Like a cattleman's stockyard. It was a stockyard they robbed.
Some nonsense.
Again, it's lots of cash hanging out at a cattleman's stockyard.
Can you guys?
That's another thing about the 90s is just like those type of crimes that just don't really work today.
Yes.
Hey, now speak for yourself. You guys live on the coasts.
I guess. I just feel like
us liberal elites. Now
feel
you're
like
a Midwesterner now all of a sudden, Nick.
Yeah, that's true. I'm in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, like, I just feel like today, with the amount of technology we have, those types of crimes don't happen or work as well.
No.
Like nowadays, like, I mean, even if these guys went down the river, they'd be caught in a second.
Yeah, I mean, they would be because there's too much communication everywhere.
You know those stories that you hear of like that, like those unsolved crimes where this guy like stole $1 million in cash, jumped out of a plane on a parachute and was never caught?
Yeah.
That type of shit would never happen today. That like that stopped like 2005. It was done.
We're too far into this constant and readily available communication, this always able to contact authorities. Like back then, when you went on the river for the 4 days they were planning to float down the river, you were out of communication with your family for 4 days.
Right.
Absolutely just cut off. If something terrible happened, nobody knew about it until you didn't show up at the end 4 days later.
When I was a kid, I would ride my bike to the other side of town and go hang out with my friends.
Yep.
And my parents wouldn't have any way to contact me.
Nope.
That is unthinkable today.
It is.
Just come home when the street lights turn on. Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah. That's unthinkable. Like...
Growing up here, we would, if we wanted to go, say, to a Walmart, for example, it's a 2-hour drive. you left for the day, and you had no way of contacting anybody if something went wrong.
Right.
Now I understand why you podcast, man. I really get it. I think I get you now. I gotta say, it's all coming together.
We're still only an hour and a half from away from a Walmart now, so it's not so bad.
Tell Nick
it's
where the
gotten better.
closest McDonald's is.
Well, before or after the flood?
Let's go after.
After, it's about an hour and 15-minute drive to the.
Now
closest.
I know why Nico's never come to visit you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything's fallen into place.
Precisely right.
Before the flood, it was only a half-hour drive.
That's not so bad.
No.
It's pretty fucking terrible, if you ask me.
Thing is, if Nico came to visit me, I would open his world to new foods. He'd just have no idea.
Yes, raw cow, goat
Yeah, I don't think
milk.
you understand. He currently on the East Coast has access to nearly infinite kinds of food.
Any French fry I want is available within like 5 minutes of me.
Even on a good day for you, the closest McDonald's by car is still further, I think, than the closest McDonald's was for Nico when he walked in Boston.
Definitely.
That's true, right?
Definitely.
It was a 10-minute walk for you.
5 minute.
5 minute. Okay.
It was a block over. 1 block away. I rolled out of bed. I want if 3 a.m. if I want to go to McDonald's. Roll out of bed 5 minutes. I get to McDonald's.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's unthinkable here. I live in a town of 400 people.
Do you know them all?
Pretty much, yeah.
How many people were in your graduating class, Rob?
14.
How many people at your senior prom, Rob?
Well, so
They bring guests.
To make sure that we had enough people, it was juniors and seniors are allowed
they
to
just do
bring.
The prom.
Yeah, you're allowed to bring a date as juniors and seniors. So, I think when I set up prom, because as juniors you set up the prom for the seniors, I think we prepared for 45 people. Yeah. I think that's about what we had.
I've been to bonfires with more people. I've been to impromptu bonfires that like they sent out a text night of.
Yeah.
I've waited in line at DQ with more people than that. Just to get an ice cream cone.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Have you ever been to like a populated area?
Oh yeah, I've visited New York.
How was that? Was that overwhelming?
No, not really. Not really. Probably
It's like a bunch of small towns
yeah.
jammed together.
The biggest part, the hardest part for me was getting from point A to point B. Like, how do I get from here to here?
Yeah.
You know, if I want to, yeah, like you get in a cab, get on a subway. Now, I mean, Uber wasn't a thing when I was there in 2007, but you get an Uber. But here, if you want to get from point A to point B, you hop in a car and go.
Right.
And yeah.
You have to do subways.
Yeah. I mean, that's
public transportation. Yeah.
This is a funny story about my dad.
Okay.
Over in the town where all the eating established, like the McDonald's is.
Yeah.
Probably about 25 years ago, the River Wild year, they were getting a Subway. And we told Dad, oh, they're getting a Subway in this town. And they're like, and he's like, how are they going to dig all the tunnels? No, a Subway to eat at, you moron.
Why would there be any use for trains, underground trains?
In a town of 6,000 people.
As if you have to save space above ground. It's like we can't be plowing over this random field.
No. Heavens.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Okay.
Okay. I want to hear if you guys can hear this. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
Can you hear that?
Now you come.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you got there, girl? You all right, girl?
Dogs. Yeah.
You hear that?
That could be anything.
There was the buzzing flies right there. Dead body. The dog was sniffing around a dead body.
I stand corrected. I stand
I
corrected.
can't believe I can't believe this movie is that deep.
Yeah.
It is. There's so many layers to this movie. It's the perfect movie.
So we have some stuff. Obviously, we have the birthday party. Rourke gets the $200 bills from the robbers. They don't accept.
My question: why does he have to give it back? Because
money.
Dad only got him an $80 Swiss Army knife.
I think
No,
that's part of it.
I think when a stranger gives the kid $200, you'd be a little concerned.
But they've been helping him out. I mean, Gail taught Wade how to fish. I mean, that's worth something. It's their way of paying back.
I would have
Here's the
accepted.
thing.
I would have accepted.
Sure,
But that's just me.
but I understand why. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying I would have made that choice. I'm not saying they made the right choice. I don't know. You could go either way on that, but I get it.
Because
if you want to repay someone, you pay them. You don't pay their kid. It's weird. Like, let's be honest. The kid didn't do shit.
But at that point, they were kind of suspicious of these guys, but they weren't all in on the suspicion yet. They were making their plans to get away and cut themselves away from Wade, basically because Tom was upset about the sexual tension between Wade and his wife.
And they were just weird.
Well, and yeah, they were just bizarre.
Yeah.
The way Frank left.
Yeah, the fact that was the straw that broke the camel's back, though, is, you're right, it is a little bizarre that the 200. I mean, I guess it was the skinny dipping thing. That's what pushed it over the edge. But
that was really bad.
right. So
I don't remember what happened before or after the $200.
I think it was right after.
Okay.
It was that night.
Okay.
So the next morning they devise this plan to ditch those guys, and they are unsuccessful. Gun is drawn, and now all the cards are on the table.
Well, because
Shenanigans are
Rourke
afoot.
decides that he wants to spend the day with his friends.
Right.
Right.
And
Fucking
50
Rourke.
minutes in, around this scene, that's when the movie starts.
Yeah.
Right. To be honest.
Mm-hmm. So that's the whole plot. Essentially, they have to navigate their way down the river. Benjamin Bratt shows up as the Native American cop. He has a conversation with this whole group, and Kevin Bacon has the gun drawn at the back of Meryl Streep, and they're all just standing in a straight line, stiff, and like, "Yes, officer, we're doing very good today."
He's only a park ranger. He's not a cop.
Whatever. Still the most, like, trusting, least paranoid human being I've ever seen in any movie ever. This guy
I'm
just
telling you.
buys everything.
You know, Meryl should have pushed her luck a little more, I think.
Yeah.
She was in a position of power where they weren't going to kill her,
Yeah.
and she should have pushed her luck a little more. That's all I'm going to say. Because, like, they literally couldn't get down the river without her.
Yeah.
And if they killed her kid, she wouldn't have helped them. So her and the kid are fine, definitely.
Well,
And at
that being
point,
said,
she don't care if Tom dies.
right.
She only cares that Tom dies after he dies.
Well, and then like the dog is expendable. Like, I'm sorry, but you know, I'm not saying kill the dog. I'm not in favor of that, but like, it's expendable at the end of the day.
I mean, they did attempt to kill her husband. And for all intents and purposes, they did kill her husband.
Well, but I was thinking, especially once the husband was gone and he like ran away and they didn't know if he was alive or not, she really should have started pushing her luck a little bit more.
Yeah.
And slowed things down, because she could just be like, no, I'm not going. What are you going to do? Kill me? Like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
So Tom kind of gets away, and Kevin Bacon like attempts to kill him, shoot him from across the river. He believes.
Which is a very suspenseful scene, by the way.
Sure, just
When
like
Kevin Bacon is hunting this man.
it's like Silence of the Lambs. It's exactly equivalent. Yes, Kevin Bacon believes that he landed a fatal shot, and so David Strathairn is gone, presumably. Meryl has this really creepy reaction where she doesn't cry, she doesn't scream. The kid is sobbing, but she just goes, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. You're not gonna expect it, but I'm gonna kill you." And
It's very Rick from The Walking Dead.
It is. It is. It's Liam Neeson and it's Rick from The Walking Dead for sure. Again, just great Meryl performance all around. And so they go through the gauntlet, and meanwhile, David Strathairn, who is alive, is following them and somehow manages to outrun a river. Thought that detail was a little over the top.
With the dog.
With the dog.
He hooks back up with the dog, who begins to mind him. A very poignant part of the movie.
Yes. Very touching moment between man and beast. It's great.
Very.
So he outruns the river, devises this contraption, and we'll get to the contraption in just a second. Communicates to his wife and child that he is indeed alive with a smoke signal, and leaves sign language on the rocks to let them know what the plan is. And they navigate this rapid. They navigate the gauntlet in a very intense scene. I just have one fucking question, and that is, why not get out the river and walk around? Can someone please explain this to me?
What do you mean?
Why not just go around the gauntlet? Why we got to go through the gauntlet?
Oh, with the money?
With everything. Why not get out and walk?
Hills and valleys. That was kind of established at the Frank part.
She did say like there's a gorge that you'd have to go around. It would take days or something.
Yeah, it takes 6 days to go around. Nobody's going to be looking for them to cross the Canadian border at the river.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
they're going south, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, they were going south. No, that was established.
Okay.
Like, they would have thought they were going north.
That's
the
right.
border,
Yep,
but they were
you're
going south instead.
You're right.
I just feel like it's a very dangerous thing. Like she says repeatedly, I can't do this.
That's kind of the point, though. Like, is these guys clearly didn't think their plan through. One of them can't swim.
No. Here's the subtext that I think you guys have missed.
Oh boy.
The plan was the whole time for Frank to fuck Terry and Wade over and drown him in the gauntlet.
Well, she said that. She said that. We don't know if that's 100% true.
That's 100% true.
We don't know much about Frank is the problem. He could be a real honest guy.
Did we even see Frank?
Yeah, at the very beginning, at the Lollapalooza hat fiasco.
And also when they see the boat like crashed up on the side, and Frank's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm just,
I got a cramp."
Yeah.
No, bro.
They're like
shot.
Okay, so they do this. Spoiler alert: they make it out okay. Meryl succeeds, gets them through the gauntlet, and then David Strathairn is waiting on the other side. And what does he do? Somehow manages to drop like an anvil on the criminal's head, like Wile E. Coyote in the desert.
No.
No, he drops a
counterweight that
like,
pulls
a bin full of rocks.
Yeah,
attached to a wire.
No, but it hits him in the head, doesn't it?
No,
it doesn't.
No, it just all it does is it lifts the wire.
Yeah.
It's on
he has
top
the wire. Yeah, the wire is loose. He drops the thing, so the wire lifts up and flips the boat.
Okay, I see.
And then Meryl grabs like the oar, I think, and smacks the other guy in the head, and the gun is lost.
All right.
And then Tom comes out and starts trying to drown Wade.
Right.
Which is fun.
I'm confusing things. You're right. I'm confusing my details.
A whole fight ensues, and then Meryl gets her hands on the gun.
Yeah.
And from there they're saved. She shoots Kevin Bacon, right? I mean,
but first she does the Dirty Harry thing of,
she gives him a chance.
Did I fire 7 shots or 6?
I think because she opened the thing and looked right before she shot, or did she not?
It was a fake out.
She did.
So she gave him an opportunity to do the right thing with essentially, and that I actually kind of like that because they do imply that she does sort of have these weird feelings with Kevin Bacon to a degree, and he kind of goes after her and he's like, "You'll never know if you actually needed to shoot me or not." And by not shooting him, giving him a chance to do the right thing, and then him turning on her, she knows, okay, I do need to shoot you because you're a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that happens, and the cops show up, and they live happily ever after. And I did love the one detail where the son's like, "Yeah, my dad saved our lives." I mean, bro, No. Like, that could be actually the most sexist part of the whole movie. It's like, what are you talking about? But your dad saved you all.
Well, I mean, he hatched the plan at the end. Really, I think both parents did substantial work, really. I think what he should have said is, I was dead weight.
Wear your helmet, Rourke.
Please don't tie my son to the boat. It's really unsafe. Like, what I love is they're going down these rapids, and I feel like John C. Reilly, Meryl Streep, and Kevin Bacon are all doing their own stunts. But for the kid, they definitely just have like a little dummy wearing a helmet in the back of the boat, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, the rest of them are really going down these rapids. But I just feel like
in the movie, I want to know how they filmed it with the dog in the boat.
Oh my god!
Because they hit some pretty hefty water there, and you see the kid and the dog at the front of the boat, and I'm like, how did you film that?
Yeah,
Trained dog.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Wow, what a fun time! What a fun time this movie was.
Strap in when you watch this movie, everybody.
When you messaged us and said like loaded cast, I was like, I wonder who's in it. I never would have imagined these people together in a million years.
Had you even ever heard of this movie?
No.
Yeah.
Between Meryl Streep, Kevin Bacon, and John C. Reilly, you could not get anybody further apart on the spectrum between those three people. Like, they make a perfect triangle
Oh yeah.
of just like these people are not related at all.
It's truly a miracle of the 90s, for sure.
My question is, like, Kevin Bacon, his selection of movies to me is weird, especially, because he was pretty successful from Footloose, right? I've never seen Footloose, but I mean, that was a big movie. And then he goes on to does fucking Tremors.
Well, then he has that show, or is that show done now?
The
on
Following?
Fox? The Following?
Oh, yeah,
The
long
Following,
gone.
yeah.
Long gone.
That was super out of character too.
That was really out of character.
Have I made it clear enough that I think Kevin Bacon is an incredible actor? Have I made that clear?
Not on this podcast.
I actually think he's one of the most underrated actors we have. I actually think he's tremendous. Like, he is great in JFK. He is great in A Few Good Men. He had a really good run, like, in the beginning of the 90s. Apollo 13, he's awesome in.
Right. He's great.
I feel like he's just a great personality, though. I feel like he's just a great force of personality.
Oh, yeah, he's so charismatic, the guy.
You know what I mean? I think it's just him.
He's
I'm not
the
even sure.
Balto in 1995.
What's that?
Balto?
The dog? Yeah. From
What?
The
He's in that?
from the 1995 version. He is the voice of Balto.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really hasn't done anything recently. Mystic River, I guess.
Another River movie.
Patriots Day, Black Mass. Yeah, he does bit parts now. He's no longer a leading man anymore.
Hey, man.
But
Pay
I
the
love
bills.
him. I love him, especially as a villain. I think he's awesome. He's like having so much fun in this movie.
There was a Tremors television reboot. This is the show that never aired.
He was in it?
He was in it, yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah, Rob, we should mention Tremors is Rob's second favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, they're basically the same movie.
I do question Kevin Bacon's selection of movies, because this is an odd movie to take. Hollow Man, did you guys ever see Hollow Man from early 2000s?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's a fucking
I think I know that one.
Yeah, where he becomes the Invisible Man.
I did not see it.
And then he does outstanding movies like Apollo 13.
Mm-hmm. No, I think he got a nomination for JFK for the Oscar, I think. He's the best part of JFK. He's really, and that movie's kind of silly too, but he's really fun in it. Yeah, he's awesome. By the way, the director of this movie is a guy named Curtis Hanson. He's not like a huge Hollywood director, but a few years after this movie, he gets nominated for directing L.A. Confidential, which is a really fun crime movie with Russell Crowe and Kevin Spacey, whose name we're not allowed to discuss. It's like Slender Man on this podcast. And and he did 8 Mile with the Eminem movie. So it is like a pretty good pedigree. The writer, Dennis O'Neil, didn't do anything. It was like The River Wild, and that's it.
Like his pet project. He just had this
page.
I have this idea in my head and I just can't get it out. I'm an accountant. I'm not a film writer. I gotta get it down on paper.
It's just like Deliverance, except it's rated PG-13 and there's no man rape.
Too bad.
It's exactly Deliverance, but it's so good. It's so good.
Instead of man rape, we'll have a kid.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Are you ready to play a game, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Did you?
How many Drew Careys? You must have known this was coming, Rob.
I didn't.
You didn't? You've never made it this far into a podcast?
I guess I haven't. I have listened to your shows in the past, but
We've been doing this segment for 2 years.
Over a year. Not quite 2 years, but over a year.
Okay, over a year.
Yeah. We play this game. I guess this is a good refresher for people that are new to the show. Drew Carey is worth a lot of money. It's worth $165 million.
yes.
It's a ton of fucking money. And we were so shocked by this that we decided to repurpose The Price is Right as a game about celebrity net worths. So what we do every week is we take a celebrity, one that usually stars in the movie that we just discussed, and calculate their net worth in terms of Drew Carey. So we'll name a celebrity and we'll say, how many so-and-sos does it take to get to one Drew Carey or $165 million?
So here's the thing that's about this game. Initially, we were supposed to measure in Drew Careys. How many Drew Careys does it take? But the problem is Drew Carey's worth so fucking much money that it's almost always a decimal point, and it became a problem. So now we just go the other way.
I gotcha.
Right.
Because 99% of the time, the other person is worth significantly less than Drew Carey.
I believe that.
Exactly. So
And this game has really illuminated for me how much $165 million is, because some of the people that I think are like filthy rich don't have nothing on fucking Drew Carey of all
Exactly.
Where did Drew Carey make all of his money? Like, what was his bit? Like, he had the Drew Carey show and Whose Line Is It Anyway? But he didn't make big money off of those. He made
he owned. So the thing about him, though, my understanding is that he like owned those shows.
Yeah.
Versus most people who somebody else owns the show.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing as Jerry Seinfeld, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like Seinfeld owned that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So-
he insisted on a bigger piece of the pie with the Drew Carey show. And actors do. There's like they take a risk on themselves and they hope that the show takes off. And so I think
The Drew Carey show must have done well enough. I mean,
the fact that it's still like in reruns means it's doing plenty well. So like he just gets a big check every time it airs now, as opposed to other actors on that show that probably don't have as big a chunk. So I think that's what it is. I would assume so. And maybe Price is Right plays well.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
I'm sure that does not hurt.
That's a very popular show. I'm sure that pays well. So.
Is that daily? Is that a daily show?
Oh yeah, it's on every day.
I mean,
And don't they do? I want to say it's like, God, I want to say they do like 80 some episodes in a season.
At
Is
least.
that right?
Yeah, at least.
I mean, that's only 20 weeks. They do more than that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so he's probably making bank. Yeah, I guess he makes $9 million a year from Price is Right, it says.
Man, that's not enough for that job.
are you kidding me? $9 million a year?
all of these
There you go. Spin the wheel. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's the easiest job in the world. Spay and neuter your pets. It's important. What? Come on, man.
You got to put up with all of these people, though, hugging you.
It's a lot of germs, yeah. All right, so this I have to get going. I have a appearance in court to make. We'll do Meryl Streep this week. The question is, of course, how many Meryl Streeps does it take to get to one Drew Carey, or is it the inverse?
Now this is an interesting question.
Right.
Meryl Streep, that's a tough one.
Yes.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
When
Rob.
you were first explaining this game, I was thinking of Meryl Streep in my head as an example, and I'm gonna say 3.
Takes
It
3
takes-
Meryls.
Meryl Streep's to equal 1 Drew Carey.
Got it. All right, Nick, what do you think?
I'm gonna say 1. I'm gonna say even.
Ooh.
165. Why not?
All right.
I think she's got some. She probably sold a cookbook or something. I don't know.
When she played Julia Child in that movie.
I don't know, right?
I'll go right in between. I'll go 2. I think she's probably worth about 100 million, and that's what I'll do.
And I don't think she's worth that much.
Really? Okay.
No, I don't.
Well, let's see. According to CelebrityNetWorth.com, the actual net worth of Meryl Streep.
We always say the actual. Like, this is, like, accurate at all.
No,
That's another thing, Rob.
Okay.
We go based off of this one website that there's no way it's remotely accurate.
No.
It's totally made up.
Shoot.
The net worth of Meryl Streep, wow, $90 million. That's 1.8 Meryl Streeps. That means I just won this week's edition of... how many Drew Careys?
I disagree. I think Nick won.
No, 1.8. I guess 2.
Over.
Oh, we don't do that.
Oh, we don't do that. No, it's just closest.
So you don't do actual Prices Right rules.
No, we don't.
Oh, we do how many Drew Careys.
Yeah.
It's our rules, bitch. The price is wrong, bitch.
Rob, this was a delight,
This was fun.
as always.
I think the 3 of us need to do a 2 cents radio sometime.
Yes, Nick. You're welcome on whenever you have the time. If you can find it.
If only I can find the time.
Yeah, if you
got a
could
really
pencil
tight
us in.
schedule.
If you could pencil us into your busy schedule.
I'll talk to my secretary.
Okay. This was super fun. I'm glad we finally got to do this. Rob, you are, as you just said, on 2 Cents Radio with me. That is available on the website, toomanythoughtsmedia.com or tmt.media for short, where you can find a plethora of internet content. Isn't that right, Nick?
We got so much content. We're going to stuff your face with content. You're going to have content pouring out your eyes.
So what all shows do the 2 of you do together? Where can people hear more of you 2?
I think just this one.
I think, just this one.
Okay.
But yeah, I do this thing called the Movie Hall of Fame with my buddy Adam. Nick does this thing called the Fantasy Book of the Month, where he reviews fantasy literature with a bunch of Reddit nerds.
Do you do that solo?
No, it's all there's a group of people I met on Reddit.
Okay.
Who, I just reached out to see if they wanted to do a podcast. They're all like virgin podcasters.
Wow.
And not that they're virgins and podcasters, just specifically, except for one.
That's a very specific demographic you're going after.
No, there's one who I know is neither a virgin nor a virgin podcaster because he does have children. So
I thought that you meant that that they were funded by Richard Branson's entrepreneurial shit.
I thought everybody on Reddit was virgin, so.
Well, that too.
There wouldn't be so many today I fucked up stories if they were all virgins. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That is.
So
No, that's awesome. I didn't know you did that. That's cool.
Just
Yeah, we
started.
do a lot of shows now. We got I think we got 7 shows on the site now.
Wow.
Shows and we got 4 weekly shows.
And each show is over a single book?
No, each show
okay.
is books
Okay. Oh my God.
over a single topic. But it's only once a month.
Cow.
Once a month.
That's a lot of reading. No wonder you don't have time to get on 2 Cents Radio with us.
Well, no, we each pick one book.
Okay. So
On
you
a singular topic. And we
So
all
the-
discuss. Yeah, it's a good time.
It's like a high school group effort. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a great time.
It's a buffet of fantasy literature.
cool.
So yeah,
Very
that's there. All the shows that we do, you know the drill. Go to the website, tmt.media or toomanythoughtsmedia.com.
Check out our YouTube account where all of these podcasts are being converted into videos. It takes me a long fucking time, so please watch them.
Yeah.
Help Nick out, man. He's just trying to make it in this wild west of the
Just trying
internet.
to make it, guys.
And we'll do a 2 cents later this week, Rob, and I'll talk about the this judge debacle, which will hopefully conclude tonight.
If you're not incarcerated.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, don't cuss at the judge again. All right.
I'll do my best. That's it, kids. Love you so very, very much. And until next time, you've all been so naughty.
No, say.
We forgot to fill Rob in on this.